I'm hopeful that this means that Toyota's going to start doing fun things on their own again. I did drive the new Corolla hatchback, the XSE, with a 6-speed manual transmission, and it looks cool, and I had high hopes, but it really wasn't that fun.
Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Discussion. On these uploads, we talk about anything and everything related to cars, car culture, owning a business, being a mechanic, anything really that has to do with cars. So today I got one and I think it's going to be really good. We're going to be talking about the GR Corolla, which was just released by Toyota. And it's one of the first cars that Toyota has single-handedly made that is sporty and exciting in a really long time. So let's get to the video. To you. All of my attention I've been giving to you. Okay guys, so the GR Corolla. I am so excited about this. I can't even really put into words how excited I am to see this car and hopefully be able to drive one. I have a buddy of mine that is really adamant about getting one. He's got a C5 Corvette and right now he currently has a Golf GTI. I think it's a 2012. And he went so far as to talk about getting rid of the Corvette and the GTI to pick up one of these GR Corollas when they come out. Now, I told him to hang on to the Corvette. The GTI is a nice car, it's an automatic, and Toyota, there's been a lot of hilarious claims, and I don't know for sure if all of them were Toyota or not, but I've seen a lot of things on social media. One of the claims that I saw basically said, yeah, you're a little if you have anything other than a manual transmission in your hot hatch. They were just taking shots at Volkswagen and the Golf R and the GTI for having dual clutch transmission options. And Toyota basically, I think what really drove this car to happen was that the new Z came out. The Golf R is a thing that exists. All these companies are doing these fun cars, right? And Toyota had a lot of fun cars back in the day. Let's talk about the All-Track Celica, the various generations of the MR2, the Supra, right? There were a lot of awesome cars that are JDM icons in today's world, and Toyota basically axed them all, and while they're a very reliable company, I can personally say in the 8 years that I was at Toyota as a mechanic, it was like, God, just do something fun. And if we go through this and really kind of analyze it, a few years back, I did a review video when the new Corolla hatch came out. It was a very nice looking car. I really liked it in the blue color, but I drove it and I was super excited because you could get one in a 6-speed manual. And I was like, is Toyota building the hot hatch? And it was like, not really. Car wasn't that exciting. I mean, yes, it was kind of fun and it had rev matching and all this other stuff, but I didn't really care for it that much. I mean, you basically got a really heavy car and it had like 140 or whatever, how many horsepower. So that car really didn't excite me that much. And it really kind of irritated me because you looked at the car and it looked great. And they had a manual transmission. It was like, Toyota's missing the ball here. But now the Gazoo Racing Corolla is, released. And I'm going to drop a picture of it in here. Just look at this thing. This is just a mean looking car. I mean, this looks amazing. Look at the haunches, look at the wheel arches, the back. I'm not a huge fan of the exhaust. I haven't seen one in person, but I like what the Civic Type R did with the tri-tip exhaust a little bit better than this. I just feel like there's like an awkward spacing in the exhaust there. But for me personally, where things get really interesting is when I did that video, I want to say it was 2019, I got to review the XSE, which was the sportiest Corolla hatch at the time with the manual and the rev matching. Toyota was talking about doing a little something called the Yaris GR. So we got teasers of that. We knew it was going to be 300 horsepower. We knew it was going to be a turbocharged 3-cylinder. And we knew it probably wasn't coming to the States. But this is interesting. I'm going to throw a clip in here from that video, and I kind of predicted the future.
But I really just hope this isn't just a little teaser. I hope that it ends up actually becoming something. And what I mean by that is the Prius, and yeah, I'm going to make a comparison to the Prius. The Prius just adopted all-wheel drive. The new Priuses you can get in all-wheel drive, and a lot of the Lexus models are going to turbos. So my hope with this car is that it keeps looking good like this, and like I said, they're trying, it handles pretty good, it has a manual transmission. I hope it gets a little power bump, and for the love of God, give us something with all-wheel drive. If Toyota created an all-wheel drive turbo version of this car, I think it would sell like crazy. I really like that it seems like it's going back to its roots. Power, like I said, and we're into it right now, it leaves a little bit to be desired. I mean, like I said, 168 horsepower in today's world just isn't going to cut it. And this thing weighs a hair over 3,000 pounds, so it's not like it's light for the class of car that it's in either. A couple little things that I like is it's got this IMT, which I can only imagine stands for Intelligent Manual Transmission. And if you push that, when you downshift, it'll actually blip the throttle and kind of sort of rev match. I'm hopeful that this means that Toyota's going to start doing fun things on their own again. I did drive the new Corolla hatchback, the XSE, with a 6-speed manual transmission, and it looks cool, and I had high hopes, but it really wasn't that fun. I mean, it just wasn't that entertaining. 160-some horsepower, just kind of lackluster in today's world. Now we find out that we're probably not going to get the new Yaris GR, which is all-wheel drive turbo 3-cylinder, about 250 horsepower, and only available in a 6-speed manual. We're not getting that. There's rumors from Toyota that that drivetrain might make it to the States in a different car, and I pray to God, from what I've seen, they said either the CHR or the Corolla hatch. I pray to God it is the Corolla hatch, because the CHR is an absolutely ugly, horrible car in my opinion. I hate it. And so I wouldn't want to see it in like a weird crossover SUV type thing. So let's pray that they put that drivetrain in the new hatch Corolla.
Hello, I've made it back.
You want to kind of lean so you're not cut out?
Okay.
I don't think you have to lean that much.
So actually, when I went back and rewatched this video naturally, because I started watching all the pressers of the GR Corolla and trying to get as much info on it as I could, I went back and watched this Yaris video, and I was basically saying like, doesn't look like we're going to get the GR Yaris, but I hope some of that technology trickles down into, you know, the Corolla someday, whatever this car is missing. Then you fast forward a few years, we're here right now, and we're talking about this car that's getting released. Now, personally, why, as a lifelong Toyota fan, and I think a lot of Toyota enthusiasts are going to agree with me here, is this so exciting? You know, obviously all of these cars are exciting when they come out. You know, Nissan creates a new Z, you get the new Miata, you get the Focus RS, and I'm not just talking about hot hatches here, I'm talking about anything that is interesting and intriguing to a car enthusiast. Now, for Toyota, I think this is really going to have a special place in people's hearts because, like I said, for the longest time, Toyota hasn't done anything fun. Well, what about the BRZ? I guess ours was the FRS, and then it turned into the GT86. You know, all of these cars that Toyota has come out with, the MK5 Supra even, they're partnerships with other companies. You know, you look at a car like the BRZ FRS, had a Subaru motor in it. So, you know, for a hardcore enthusiast, someone that's a purist, you're going to be like, yeah, well, there's this fun car, but Toyota needed somebody else to help them develop it, right? It just gave the impression that Toyota couldn't do fun things on their own anymore. And I think Toyota, you know, they got into just building these really reliable A to B cars, and they realized that that's where most of their money was being made. So they were like, we don't need to make fun cars anymore. But people started to watch as this kind of stuff was happening. You know, the MK5 Supra finally comes out, and that's a whole nother video. But if you really dig in and research on how that was made, it's not necessarily just a rebadged BMW, but there's still that piece there, right? There's still a collaboration that went on, and for a lot of people, that took a lot of the love away from the new Supra, and I think rightfully so. You know, I think it would have been much more exciting if Toyota had done that all on their own, albeit their reasoning was very legitimate. Toyota said, if we develop this car completely on our own, we would essentially NSX it, and it would be priced out of the market, essentially. So they didn't want that to happen. I respect them for getting the Supra done. I did a whole review on the Toyota Supra when it came out in 2020, and I loved the car, but I would have been a lot more excited about it had it been 100% Toyota, and I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. So it just, you know, people were like, Toyota, when are you going to make your move? When are you going to do something that's fun again? And then we got things like the TRD Avalon and the TRD Pro Tundra and the TRD Camry, and it was like they were kind of teasing us, and every time that they came out with something like this, it was just really lackluster. You know, the TRD Camry was great. The TRD Avalon, I got to drive both of those, and you know, they're quick cars, but from an enthusiast perspective, it's like, this isn't something I want to toss around or throw a bunch of money at in modifications and make it awesome. It just kind of flirts with that line of maybe being a little bit sporty, but nothing crazy was really done. So then all of a sudden we get rumors of this GR Corolla, and like I said, I really think that companies like Nissan and Honda with their new Z and with the Civic Type R push Toyota into doing this, because they're like, look, we are completely being left in the dust here. Yeah, we got a Supra, which most people can't afford, and people are upset about the BMW partnership, and we got the FRS, the 86, whatever you want to call that car, the collaboration with the BRZ and with Subaru, we have that car, but they're not genuine Toyotas. It's not really our vehicle, you know? All of these things are collabs and rebadges and rebranding, whatever you want to call that. And we need to do something on our own, and we need to step up our game here. And like I said, I just love the energy I've been seeing on social media. Toyota released another statement, and it said, "You thought we were done." You thought we were done, and then it's a picture of 3 pedals, and it says Supra. So that leads me to believe that the new Z, obviously it has similar power, and it has a manual transmission, and it's cheaper than the Supra, and I think that forced Toyota to rethink, you know, what they're doing. And I think good enough. Toyota had some of the best JDM cars of the time back in the day, and they haven't really done anything fun since. So with this new Corolla, I think everyone is super ecstatic to know that Toyota built this car 100% themselves. And while I thought that something similar to the RS would happen with the Toyota Corolla, or, you know, one of the smaller platforms that Toyota has, I didn't think it was presumably going to be this good. I mean, you're talking 300 horsepower out of a 3-cylinder turbocharged engine, and I saw a few pictures of the cylinder walls and stuff like that. It looks like this thing is going to be pretty beefy, and they're making it so that people can play around with it. On top of that, it's only coming with a 6-speed manual, and it's all-wheel drive. I don't know what these things are going to cost. I've talked to a few of my old sales associates, and it sounds like obviously there's going to be a pretty decent markup on them. But my buddy with the Corvette and the GTI said he actually drove down to his local Toyota dealer, and they told him that they didn't plan on doing a markup on these cars. Now, I don't know how true that is. Obviously, salesmen are going to do whatever they can to keep you interested in a car. But, you know, that being said, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing around that 35, 40 grand range. And, you know, there's the Circuit Edition, I believe it's called, and then the Core Edition. I don't really know what all the differences are yet, but I think it's super exciting and honestly pretty incredible that Toyota has gone out of their way, and they're like, "We have heard you." And, you know, put this into perspective. I'm 27 years old, and the last good sports cars that Toyota made were, you know, I was in elementary school when this happened. So we've gone like 20 years without Toyota doing anything really fun organically meaning that they did it all themselves. So I'm super excited to see what is to come with this GR Corolla. We know it's turbocharged, we know it looks killer, we know it's all-wheel drive, and we know it only comes in a manual transmission. So what do you guys think? What are you expecting for the GR Corolla? Drop me a comment down below. I'd really like to know what you guys think about it, so make sure you drop me a comment down below so I can read them. I try to get back to everybody in the comment section. Also hit the bell notification so you're notified every time we do a video and you don't miss an upload. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.